Coach.
All right, we're excited to get going. I mean, this is a great start. It's like 70-something degrees out there in March 2nd here, so beautiful day to kick it off. Got a lot of construction going on. Y'all been hearing the jackhammers and all that stuff going on, so we got a lot going on this side of the building. We're going to be breaking ground on the weight room side, probably here in the next couple weeks or so. But so a lot of things going on in the building that's exciting and a lot of fun, and then just always fun to get back on the field with your team. And these guys have worked really hard since January. I'm really proud of how they've worked. This team's got a great vibe to it already, which has been really fun. Proud of them, what they've done in the weight room, what they did in our all-in drills, and just ready to get on the field and get started. It's been a busy and fun off season with this group. I'm really excited about how our staff has come together. That's been a lot of fun. Getting everybody on the same page and coaching the coaches a little bit and getting everybody locked in on what we got to do for spring ball. And we've done a lot of work, obviously from a just quality control standpoint and those type of things, and all that stuff's based on last year's team, but it's still good to be able to learn from it and grow from it and kind of help it shape what you're going to do on practices in the spring. Also excited about our signees that are here. These 9 mid-years have really done a nice job kind of getting going. It can be a little overwhelming in the beginning for anybody, but they've done a really good job, and I know they're excited about getting on the field for the very first practice of their Clemson career. Then injury-wise, this is a team that I'm really excited about, first of all, because this team is battle-tested. This is a mentally and physically tougher football team than we were this time last year, just a more experienced group. We've got I think we got 37 guys that have started for Clemson at some point in their career. That's a lot of guys. And then we got another 13 guys that have been starters on special teams. They haven't been offensive, defensive starters, but they've been starters for us on special teams. So that's a lot of experience coming back that we didn't have last year. And, so I really am encouraged by the leadership that comes with that type of experience. So, the best teams we've had have been built inside out. And I think that's how this team will be. This is a very deep group. The biggest thing is getting guys back healthy. I mean, we've had a lot of guys this past year, as y'all know. We played the bowl game without 30 scholarship players available, and we've had a ton of surgeries, a ton of rehab, a ton of things going on, and then obviously, we've signed a class and we got some new people, but I'm pleased with where we're heading from a personnel standpoint. And then I know y'all all know about Hunter Rayburn. Certainly we knew that was a possibility. He really wanted to play one more year, and man, he was really just coming into his own and really becoming a heck of a player. And really proud of what he was able to do for us last year and how he finished. But the rescan of his neck area, he and his family just made the decision that it was time to shut it down. And he's going to be here every day. He'll be coaching and stepping into a different role. But that's definitely a loss for us, for sure. So we're going to miss him. And then from a other injury standpoint, guys that y'all are probably interested in, you'll see Landon Zanders out there in green today. You'll see Fred Davis in green. You'll see Dietrich Pennington in green. Landon will probably spend most of the spring in green and really in a good spot. He looks great. He's doing good. And when I say our protocol for a green jersey is they're close to being full speed and full go, so they're working their way into that. So they do all the individual, they do all the team separate, but we just keep them out of the full speed collision type stuff, good on good type stuff. So we'll be able to get a lot done with Landon, but we'll hold him out of any scrimmage work or competitive contact drills. Fred Davis will be in a green today, but he should be ready to go Saturday. He should be full go in a normal jersey. And then Dietrich Pennington is doing really well, and man, he's going to be a big shot in the arm for us when we get him back, full go. But he'll do all of our team separate, all of our individual, all that stuff. So he's going to get a lot done. But we'll reevaluate him after spring break as far as where he is. But same thing with him. No full speed live work, good on good, but we'll still get a lot accomplished. So that's guys that you'll see in green, and then we have a group of guys that are in yellow, which are guys that are out of practice right now, and most of these guys will be out all spring as far as the protocol, and some will be able to do some things here and there, but for the most part they're out for spring. Robert Gunn, our signee, our kicker, he's coming off an ACL. He looks great. I think he's kicking Nerf balls now and is really progressing well. So Brian Brzee looks great, and if it wasn't for his shoulder surgery, he'd probably be a pretty good participant during practice. So he's doing great with his knee, but obviously we had to do 2 surgeries on him. I had to do the shoulder later on, so he's out, but you'll see him, that big bear, roaming around out there and getting better, and he looks great. Will Taylor obviously is rehabbing, and he's, I see him all the time, but he's splitting time with baseball too. But he's grinding to get back so that he can play some baseball and then be ready to go for football when we get back going. But proud of what he's been able to do. Trey Williams with his surgery and having that shoulder fixed again. He's rehabbing very well. So that's two great guys that are out, but are on their way to making it back, in Trey and Brian Brzee at that defensive tackle position. Tyler Venables is out. He had surgery on his hip labrum, so he's doing well. He's rehabbing well, but he won't be able to participate in the spring. Same thing with Sage Ennis. Had to have knee surgery, and he's rehabbing well. And all these guys will be full go by the time we get into our May off-season summer program. They'll be really rocking and rolling. And then Will Shipley looks great. There's nobody more disappointed than Will Shipley that he couldn't do mat drills. That guy loves every ounce of everything, but he's in a good spot with his rehab. Davis Allen, same thing, looks great. He's in a great spot with his rehab on his shoulder. Sergio Allen and his ankle, he's really looks great, and he's the guy that I think will transition to green pretty soon at some point during spring. So I don't know that he'll get to full speed during spring, but I do think we'll get him into green at some point. And then Malcolm Green is doing very well with his shoulder. So Kobe Pace with his big toe and the surgery that he had on that, he's rehabbing well. So it's a great opportunity for Maffa to kind of be the guy this spring. He didn't really get a chance to be the guy. Kobe did, Shipley did, so this will be a great experience for him to catch up a little bit this spring. And then E.J. Williams had to have the scope on his knee, and so he'll be full go and ready to roll early May as well. But he was doing great, had great work in our mat drills, etc. But just had a little issue there that they needed to correct, so he's not going to be able to go through spring. But the biggest thing with him is just getting him healthy, so that we don't have to deal with some of these recurring issues that have limited him this sophomore season that he had. And then I know y'all know that Mason Trotter missed the bowl, and he's with the team. He's in good standing. He's a great kid. He's unfortunately probably going to not be available for us for the majority of the season. It's not a legal issue or a university issue or anything like that, but looks like he's probably going to be out for most of the season. And out of respect for Mason, I'm really not going to say anything else about it. Not going to get any more details out of that on that. But because of that, because of the situation there, the good news is he's got a couple years left, but the situation with him and then Rayburn, we're gonna very actively pursue somebody in the portal between now and May, but it's got to be the right fit. Specifically, it's got to be the right fit. Somebody that fits us, fits our program, fits our locker room, and not just a guy. Somebody that's a all-conference, multi-year starter type of a guy. That's a veteran, because there's a little bit of a gap. We love our roster that we have in that offensive line room in particular. We got a lot of guys that we're super excited about, but this is one of those things where I say sometimes you can get a gap that we need to probably look at all measures to get at least a guy that can come in here and help us. But I'm excited. If not, we'll be fine either way. But would like to add another number to that position between now and the season. So we'll see how that all works out. And then that's it from an injury standpoint. And just take whatever questions y'all got.
Coach, regarding the center position with Rayburn and Trotter out, how important is it that Ryan Linthicum have a good spring?
Shoot, all of them, man. Not just Ryan. The first thing, which I'm really excited about, and something honestly we were going to do regardless, but we're going now. And with the personnel that we have with Dietrich coming on, and what Mitchell Mays has been able to do, and just the development of some of these guys, we're going to move Putnam to center. And Putnam has reclassified, so he's just going to be a junior. So he's got 2 years left, and I think that's the right move for him. It's the right move for our team, and so that right there, we'll see how that goes. But he's been really working hard at that, and so being able to move him in there at center, and J Mac, obviously we know he and Parks are just anchors in what they can do and their experience and what Marcus Tate was able to do last year, and his development. He's going to be in a completely different hemisphere by the time we get to the season than what he was this year, just rolling in. But Ryan Linthicum and Trent Howard, they've got to have big springs for sure. Again, it's going to start with Putnam. He's one of the most experienced players we got. He's a very good player, and hopefully. I need to see it, but hopefully that's going to be a move that is really going to make a huge difference for us. And then take a little pressure off of Trent and Ryan and let them continue to come. Mitchell Mays, we'll cross-train a bunch of guys in there. Mitchell Mays will play a lot of guard. We feel like Dietrich, had a chance to compete to be a starter for us last year. So getting him back is a big shot. Getting John Williams back, Big John, everybody just kind of forgot about him because he's been gone. That's a big old grown man there that is coming off an injury, but he's full go, and so we'll see where he is. And then adding Blake, adding Collin into the group. Really want to see Brian Tucker take another step. We got a big red shirt sophomore group coming up that needs to take a big jump for us. And if we can get that, and Tristan Leigh can make some progress coming out of his red shirt year, it's going to make us better. So we've got a lot of pieces, and again, we're going to cross-train a lot of those guys, but not everybody can snap. And so with Putnam and Trent and Linthicum, that's where it'll start. And even J Mac's been snapping some, been working at it a little bit. So we'll have a lot of options, and then if there's a guy out there that fits us, that brings all the attributes that we're looking for, that's something we'll consider at some point.
Tristan, a little bit elaborate on what he needs to do this spring.
Well, he's first of all, he's a great kid, and he is a worker. But man, he came in here so far behind. He'd be the first one to tell you. He was not only was he physically behind, he was mentally behind, and just overwhelmed. There's so much, and we know who he is as a player. But what you saw on tape was the guy that knew what he was doing, and was playing at a different level and those type of things. But he was playing with a lot of confidence. And but he had COVID hit. He didn't have a season. He got behind. There was just a lot But that kid has worked his tail off since he got here in the summer. You know, he did a great job in the power hour. His numbers, he has transformed himself physically from a strength conditioning standpoint, and then what he's doing with his body composition. He's got all the tools. So the next step, to answer your question, is now let's go be a more fluid, more confident, efficient, productive offensive lineman than anything we've seen. You know, so it was pretty easy to see in camp that he wasn't going to be ready. So he's been on the shelf. Now we get a chance to go really get some very good work and really work with him. And I'm excited about it because his attitude is tremendous, and he's a guy that if he will keep progressing based on what he's done in a short amount of time and continue that path, by the time we get to August, you know, he's a guy that hopefully can help us.
What's a realistic expectation for Cade this spring and in the fall? You see some similarities with the way you did it with Deshaun, the way you did with Trevor, and the way you did with DJ.
Yeah, I mean, he's similar to all those guys, you know. Trevor, Deshaun, DJ, all of them were mid-years, and just like, you know, Cade coming in here, no different there. The expectation is he comes in here and you know, he's the guy that we recruited, and you know, he's a leader. He's a detailed preparer, and he takes the field and with great preparation day in and day out, and he learns from his mistakes, and he just gets better as he goes. Just that was the expectation for Deshaun. It was the expectation for Trevor, and expectation for DJ. No different. So, you know, just show up and let's go see where he is. Good news for him, he's going to get a lot of reps. So right out of the gate here, you know, he'll get a ton of work, and I'm excited to see him on the field. It's always fun to see those new mid-years, you know, and they have their first practice. There's a lot on those guys, even though they're all really talented young football players. This is a big day for them.
Got a lot of new coaches coming into position changes this year. Guys like Thomas Austin. How have you seen the rapport between the new guys and the roster?
Yeah, Thomas has been great, and you know, and that was one of the reasons I went and hired him back from Georgia State. You know, kind of knowing you know what was coming down the line there, and you know, it's been great. I mean, he's just a natural. He was a great player. He was a captain. He was a great leader, and he's the exact same as a coach. I mean, he's just a very detailed guy, unbelievable energy, and it's going to be fun. And not only that, you know, getting Brandon Thomas back as a GA, that's two pretty good dudes out there, you know, coaching this offensive line. So I'm excited about the two of them being able to actually coach them on the field. But man, Thomas has done a really, really, really good job. I've been really proud of him, and you know, he's going to be a special coach.
Yeah, but when you said, you know, we're basically open for business for a top offensive lineman, I imagine you're going to get some candidates interested. If you had more than one interested, would you do that?
I don't know. It depends. I mean, you know, we've got good, like I said, Mason. Our number's 15. That's what we try to operate with the offensive line, and we're at 15. But we went to 14 with Rayburn, and so. You know, it's a fluid situation. Somebody could leave, somebody could pack up and leave after spring, hope not. But we really like our roster. I mean, we like the guys that we've recruited here. Don't have any remorse with any of them. They're all at different stages, and some you wish would, you know, come a little quicker than others, but these are really good players. And you know, what we went through last year with some of them is going to really pay dividends. So, you know, I don't see anybody coming in here and beating out J Mac or Parks. You know, I feel great about the young talent we have, and we're committed to those guys. But we do have a little gap. So, you know, I can't just go sign 20 linemen. You know, we have a number. I mean, you get 85 scholarships. That's all you get. But we'll see what happens. There's a bunch of guys out there. There's a few guys out there right now that we're evaluating and really looking at. And I'm sure there'll be, in college football, there'll be somebody next week. There'll be somebody the next week and the next week and the next week. So it's fluid, and you make those decisions. Anything can happen. You could have somebody have a season-ending injury in spring ball or something. So We'd like to get one, but anything could change that.
How do you sort of handle the running back room this spring, which is the
Yeah,
one depth?
yeah, it's going to be fun. So, Moffa's the man, number one. So again, as I said earlier, it's going to be an opportunity for him to get a ton of work. He didn't really get that chance to kind of go be the guy, and we were trying to redshirt him, as most of y'all remember, and we had to kind of nix that plan. So he didn't get as many opportunities or plays as Kobe and Ship did. So this is going to be great for him. I mean, I think we're going to have a three-headed monster at running back. All those guys are really, really good, and they're really good in whatever situation you need them to be. That's what's a plus about the three backs that we have. Obviously, we signed Keith, and he'll be coming in to add to the room. But man, hey, you're a walk-on running back. Man, you're fixing to have a great spring. There's going to be a lot of opportunity. Y'all going to be going, who the heck's that guy? So my man Kevin McNeil and Tristan Rigby and Wise Seegers and Dominique Thomas, who's a young kid that he's from Union College. I think he was like freshman of the year. He's a really unique story. I actually met him last year. He was trying to be on our team, but the tragic story too with that kid is I'm pretty sure he was freshman of the year in whatever league that is, Union College is at, and he it was a really bad, where he's from in Alabama, it was a really bad tornado, and he lost several of his family members through the tornado. So he ended up leaving there, and anyway, his dream was to come to Clemson, and so he walked on here, joined the team in January, and, so he came at a good time. He's going to get some opportunity this spring as well, and he's easy to pick out. He looks like Earl Campbell out there. For sure, with those of you old enough to remember Earl Campbell. So he's a put together kid. I don't know nothing about him as a player yet, other than that. But so all those guys will get a lot of opportunity with our 2s and 3s. But Phil will get a chance to kind of be the guy, and I think it'll be great. And it's going to be good for Kobe and Shipley too to have a good perspective mentally and to really stay engaged, and as they physically get better, make sure they mentally get better too.
Coach, you were so banged up at slot last year. How good is it going to be to watch Brannon and Troy Stellato along with Bo?
Everybody. Troy, we're going to probably keep more at the 2-man. He'll cross train. He'll do 2 and 5, but it's all those guys. I mean, it breaks my heart that EJ's not going to be able to go because again, this was just literally last week. So he was tearing it up. But this is something that is kind of just needed to be fixed. But we know who he is and what he can do. I think he's got high level ability. But the biggest thing is just getting our numbers back. I mean, to have 7 scholarship receivers out, I've never been a part of that as long as I've been coaching. Usually you only have like 9 on scholarship in college football, maybe 10. We're going to have 10 this year. Our number has always been 10. We've rarely been at 10. We've usually been at 9. Some years 10, but most years 9, and maybe a great couple walk-on guys. But this year we're gonna be at 10, and I'm super excited about it because we got some talented guys. Ngata has been amazing. He has been amazing this offseason. His leadership, he's just done an awesome job. And I mean, again, just availability has been his issue. He had a great freshman year, and then these last 2 years have just been a real challenge. So hopefully this is the year that he can stay on the field. Because if he can stay on the field, the rest will take care of itself. I promise you that. He's a really talented player, high level. The plus side of all the stuff we dealt with last year is Bo and Dakari, and what got accelerated with them. That's a real plus. So now they're just both a lot further along than maybe they would have been had we stayed completely healthy across the board. And getting I can't wait to see Speck out there. I mean, he's looked good in our mat drills and stuff, but yeah, I haven't seen him play football in a while, so I'm excited to see him. And obviously, we think Will Taylor is special. I think Will Taylor is really, really special. Obviously, he's not out there; he's getting ready to play some baseball, but he'll be there in August. So it's a really good group for sure. Adding Adam Randall into that group and getting him there, and obviously Bo and Troy. We got a lot of guys that are available to us. So the only ones we don't have are Antonio, who will be here this summer, Cole Turner, who will be here this summer, getting EJ back, and then Will. So we'll have 6 scholarship guys out there, and then we've got a great group of walk-on guys that'll do a good job for us too. So it's going to be exciting to have that amount of personnel to work with, and we'll ask a bunch of those guys to do some different things and cross-train. But we'll see how it all plays out.
Special teams.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Special teams this year, you got to replace a punter for the first time in an eon, and then you got the little guy in the battery for the kicker. He's going too. What do you got going on there?
Yeah. So you're talking about Jack. Talking about Jack Maddox at snapper.
And also the middle guy, your guy.
Will Swinney. Yeah, well, yeah. So Drew, my man Drew, is ready to roll. So he's been our second guy for a while, and then we signed Clay coming in as a walk-on guy, and then Jack Smith is another holder for us. So we'll be fine there. Those guys have got a lot of experience doing that. It's one of those jobs that you don't really appreciate it till you don't have the right guy. And then I'm excited about our snappers. Jack Maddox has been. Nobody knows who Jack Maddox is, and that's a really good thing. He's been an anonymous guy his whole career. He's what a good player he was and leader. But this Casperson kid that we got and my man Florenzo, it's 2 good snappers. So both of these guys will have a chance to really get out there, kind of under the pressure for the first time. They both got a couple of games where we threw them in there, but it'll be a little different vibe for them with Jack going this spring, and then with Jack Smith, the punter. Excited about him being a mid-year. He'll probably shank it all over the field out there today. That's usually what happens with your young kickers. So Gunn gets the reprieve on his first day, but Jack's really, really talented. He'll remind you a lot of stuff. He's a big, long, like a pinion type of a kid, and very technically sound coming in out of high school. Unlike Will had never really punted. He was a quarterback athlete that just would go punt, and really has developed well. And then getting BT back is obviously a huge shot in the arm for us. So I think we'll be in good shape there.
What do you expect from Jeadyn Lukus? Seems like there's opportunity there.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, a lot of opportunity. We got Toriano here. We got Jeadyn here. We got a young man named Elijah Rogers who's a walk-on here. I think he signed with Indiana originally out of high school, and he joined our program through a tryout in the fall. So there's a lot of opportunity for that group because Malcolm is out, and it's a group. When Miles Oliver gets here this summer, we'll have 7 guys. But I think, and then Elijah makes 8. I think it's a really, really talented group that can be developed to play at a high level. But it's going to start with Sheridan for sure. Sheridan and Nate has had a really good off season. I really like how he finished the year. And then Fred, that's kind of the 3 I think where it'll start. We'll get Malcolm back. That's our vets. And then you throw in Toriano, you throw in Jeadyn. You got Miles coming in. I think we're going to have a really good group of personnel there to work with. Makuba's another guy that will play some corner. But Jeadyn he's exactly what we recruited. He's long, he's fast, he's a twitchy dude, and he needs a big between now and August in the weight room, and he just needs to go out there and grind this spring and try to get better each and every day.
Linebacker, you got a lot of versatility, different kind of guys. Talk about Trent and Barrett.
Yeah, I think the key word for our linebackers this year, I think we're going to be incredibly fast and athletic, and probably dynamic is probably a word for the group that we have. I mean, and those guys are, that's a really good group. We got 3 coming in, and we're excited about our 3 signees that will be joining us, but it's a really good group. We got 6 guys out there this spring scholarship guys that are going to get a lot of work, and Wes has done a great job. We're going to move Trenton inside, so he's going to move the wheel. So you'll see him out there, and I think that's the move for him for his future. Eventually he'll be able to play some Mike too, but we're going to really lock him in at that wheel position. And then McGuire and Levante are really proud of both of them and how they finished. Those two guys can play Will and Mike. They can play either one. Barrett will start out at our nickel Sam, and I think eventually he'll be inside one day. But Barrett's a very unique player. Those of you who followed him a little bit in high school, you know how dynamic, how fast he is. He could go play safety for us. I mean, he really has that type of athleticism, and so he gives us a very unique guy at that spot. And then Sergio, getting him back at some point this spring, we'll get him rolling back in there as well. So I'm excited about the group, man. I mean, it's going to start, like I said, with McGuire and Trenton and Levante, and then my man Trotter. This is as good a linebacker as we've signed here. He is a true bona fide dude, and he can play the mic or the wheel. So it's a fun group. They'll be fun to watch this spring, and I think the future's really bright right now, and really bright for the future at that position.
Health-wise, how is DJ doing, and what were the last couple months like?
Yeah, DJ looks great. First of all, just so proud of how he finished. So proud of how he led. He'd be the first one to tell you, hey, he's got a lot he needs to go improve on and get better. But kid never made excuses, never pointed fingers, never did anything. And I've never had a young quarterback that didn't make mistakes. Deshaun, Trevor. The difference between Deshaun and Trevor was DJ's mistakes were magnified. We weren't near as good around him as we were those other two dudes. But I promise you, they made plenty of mistakes. That was a terrible pass that Trevor threw to Justin Ross in the national championship. Terrible. But Justin Ross reached back behind him, back here, one hands it, and everybody's cheering and yelling. If he didn't do that, everybody been booing Trevor. But the positive of that, of what DJ went through last year, is I think it accelerated all the other stuff that has to come with being a great quarterback. His mental toughness, his leadership, his grit, his thick skin, just the will to win, all that stuff, I think got accelerated through his experience this past year. He looks amazing. It's been a long time since he's been 240. I think he's lost about 15, 16 pounds. He looks great. It starts with him, and man, I think he's going to have an amazing year. I really do. So, but the first thing is he's got to get better, and things he's got to do. He took too many sacks, and I can criticize him on some things that he's got to do, but we got to get better around him. Get some of these guys back and ready to go, and get the offensive line solidified, get our center position ready to roll, get our backs healthy, and those type of things. He's going to do great.
What were the things you challenged him to improve on in the off time?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, he needed to build on the things from last year. I mean, he took 8.5 sacks, and the majority of those were the first part of the season. Holding the ball, not managing the pocket well, some fundamentals, some technical things. But you saw as the latter part of the season, all the things I needed to see, I saw from him. That would be the very first thing. We threw too many interceptions. Not all those were on him. So ball security, managing the pocket, fundamentals, technique, and getting the ball out. Those are all things that he needs to improve on, and just decision making overall. But and he did. Most of his stuff was early part of the season. That last little 6-game run there that we finished with. He really did a nice job in a lot of areas for us. With being injured, bad knee and a bum finger, he just kept playing. It had been very easy for him to grab the sideline, and So just building on how he finished, and just continuing to develop and be that very polished quarterback and leader that we need him to be.
Do you think that having a guy like Cade in there to both push him in practice, but also a guy that you're trying to, the stuff that you're doing, you're trying to explain it to the younger guy too, can that be some beneficial thing to DJ as he's trying to develop this spring as well?
Absolutely. I think the more good players you have, the better. Good players make each other better, and so I don't think there's any question about that. Miles Murphy made KJ better, made Xavier Thomas better, and all those guys. So, and it's great for Cade to be able to learn from a guy like DJ, just like it was great for DJ to learn from Trevor. And so it'll be a good situation for us. And then we'll get Hunter in here, and he won't be here today, but you'll see him in and around during spring practice. He can't participate, but he'll be around, and then he'll be here for summer one, ready to go for skills and drills, and he's going to be a great asset to both of those guys. As we pull it all together this summer.
Miller and Sadler, if they're going to start out at
Tackle. Let's start out at tackle, and they're. I don't know if y'all have seen them up close, but that's what they look like. That's two grown men right there, and I've been incredibly impressed with them. They are way ahead of what your typical freshman is from a physical standpoint. Mentally, we'll see when we get out there and the fastballs start coming, but physically, I mean, they are as strong a high school senior as you're going to find out there. I mean, they are really, really physically in a good spot. So I love how they competed and pushed through the mat drills. So we'll see how they do.
As far as Xavier Thomas, what do you think he can gain from an additional year? Maybe you plan any role in selling him?
I had nothing to do. No, I had anything to do with it. He came to me. I thought he's one of them. I thought was for sure leaving. But it's just kind of interesting. That's why you never know. In the recruiting process, everybody said he was coming here 3 years and leaving, and man, he didn't know a lot of football when he got here as a freshman. He physically was ready, but he had a lot of learning. Then you don't know what's coming. Everybody's got a different journey and challenges and all those things. But what you see in Xavier Thomas is maturity. A very mature young man, a very wise young man that didn't want to settle for where his projection was. And he was having some fun. He really, I think, coming off that really challenging season he had in 20, he really had some fun getting himself back where he needed to be. And he's just, he doesn't feel like, he was the best version of himself. And so he's come back to be the very best version of himself. And in 9 months, this thing's over. In 9 months, you're heading into the postseason, whatever you earn. And man, this kid is focused and driven. And I'm just really, really proud of who he's become. The type of leader that he's become. He's one of those guys that got a ton of votes for leaders, being one of the guys as they see as a leader. He's earned that. So, he's set up to go have a great year, and hopefully the good Lord will keep him healthy and he'll be able to do just that. But it's a really good group. We got 4 guys at the end that this time next year are going to be getting ready, to head off to the NFL. And to know that we've got all 4 of those guys back for one more year is a blessing. I mean, we got a chance to be really, really special in that defensive line when we get everybody back together.
But given the newness of a lot of your staff, how much do all these injuries and all these absences take away from what you would like to do?
I don't think a lot, to be honest with you. I mean, obviously, I'd like to have Brzee out there. I'd like to have Davis Allen out there. I'd like to have Shipley, but Shipley and Kobe have got a lot of experience now. They spent a year with Spiller, So I think we're in good shape. We got pretty much all the linemen out there that getting guys back. They're all going to be able to participate. It'll be exciting when we get a few more guys in this summer from a freshman standpoint. But, it is what it is. I mean, you coach what you got. But these guys that are out, they'll be ready. Shipley will be ready. Robert Gunn, it'd be nice to have him out there, but BT's back. Brian Brzee will be ready to play. Who we open up with? Georgia Tech, he'll be ready. Will Taylor will be ready. My man Trey Williams will be ready. We'll have plenty of time to coach those guys up. Tyler Venables has played a ton of football for us. He'll be ready to go. Sage Ennis got a lot of experience last year. It would have been nice to have him out there. But the opportunity for Brenningstool, Sage and Davis kind of on ice, kind of like Maffa. Brenny gets to be the guy, and man, what a special talent he is. So he'll be fine. Davis Allen's played a ton of football for us. Sergio's going to get worked back in. Malcolm is a junior. We just got to get him healthy, and then EJ's probably the one that I would have liked to have had him out there this spring. And we could have probably tried to go through, but we just made the decision. Let's get it done. Let's be done with it, and let's get him ready to go by the time we start in May.
Dabo, I don't think you were able to speak on it because he hadn't announced yet. But TJ Dudley, what did you guys kind of like when you identified him? And what do you kind of feel like he brings to the linebackers?
Thumper. His nickname's Bull, and that's a good nickname. First of all, he's a great athlete. He's a really good basketball player. If you ever watch him play basketball, he's a double-digit guy, double rebound guy. He is a really good athlete, very smart. I love the program that he came from. He's Collin's teammate there. Great family, and just a good fit for us. He's got good range. I think he's a multiple position guy, and just a great fit for us. He's a thumper. He's a thumper.
And did DJ decide on his own that he needed to lose that weight, or is that something you guys kind of talked to him at the end of the season that you'd like to see him, shed a few pounds?
Yeah, it was something that we talked about. But it was definitely his decision. We can talk about all we're doing. He's just maturing as a person, as a young person, and understands that he's got to. He's never going to be little, ever. Just a big man, but he knew that he could do a little better job with some of his composition, and certainly something that we talked to him about. But he's a really good athlete, and him working like he's worked, I think, is going to pay good dividends for him.
Defensive end, you got Greg Williams, a veteran guy, changed
Yep.
positions a couple years ago after the injury.
Yep.
Talk about him, and then also Zaire Patterson, one of the younger guys.
Well, the plus about having those four guys, we'll probably just rep them with the ones, all four of them really, and keep their reps down, get the work they need. We got a lot of fundamental stuff and technical stuff we need to do, but it's going to be a great opportunity for Greg and Zaire and Denhoff, Swint. Forget about Swint, man. Swint's a dude. He's a baller. Greg made huge improvement, toward the end of the season, and he's primed to really go have a great finish in his career these next few years. So I'm super excited about that group. I know it can be a little frustrating. They've had to be patient. So that's one of our main objectives this year, is to really bring Greg and Swint, and Cade and Zaire, really bring them to another level. It'll be fun. We got a young kid named Armand Mason that I think, if he'll hang in there, he's a walk-on guy. Had some offers smaller levels, but if he'll hang in there, he could be a guy in a couple of years. He's got some tools. Just got to keep getting bigger physically and kind of hang in there with the process. So it's a good group. And then we'll add Jaheim will be here this summer.
How healthy is DJ, the knee and the finger?
He looks great, man. He looks great. I was with him last night at an event we had to go to in Columbia, so spent a lot of time with him yesterday. He looks really good.
Will he wear the brace still?
That's a good question. I don't know if he will or not. We'll find out here shortly. I didn't ask him.
Platinum moving center, who's going to get those starting reps right now?
We'll start out with Mitchell in our live work. We'll start out with him in there, and again cross-train him, and really kind of keep Collin and Blake right now at the tackle spots, and let them settle in a little bit before we overwhelm them too much. But Mitchell will slide in there, and I think he's excited about it. Do a good job for us, and then Dietrich will get a lot of our team separate, what we call team separate work. So he'll get a bunch of reps too.
I guess at left guard, is Marcus Davis.
Marcus, he'll start out there, and again he'll also work tackle. He'll cross train at left tackle for us.
How far is Linthicum away from being
he was a long way away this fall. You know, that's why we redshirted him. But you know, we'll see when he gets out there. Trent was definitely the next guy. You know, Trent's a good player. Trent. You know, he had COVID. He had what do you call it, mono. He had about everything you can have, and you know, really had gotten himself in a good spot and got set back during the COVID stuff. But he's a very savvy, smart football player that can play guard and center. He's very athletic. Knows the game. So he's a guy that, you know, nobody really talks much about him, but he's a good football player. And he'll be a redshirt sophomore, I guess. And so he's got an opportunity. And then Linthicum, obviously a high level recruit, but came in here just not ready and just a little overwhelmed. So anxious to see him grow this spring and then hopefully be ready by the time we play in September.
Take one more.
Dabo, you mentioned Sheridan Jones, kind of from a leadership standpoint, since he is one of the more experienced players. How much do you need to see from him in terms of maybe helping some of the other guys and just kind of proofing that starting role?
Yeah, I really already have seen it from him. I mean, he has really done a great job. First of all, with his body, and when y'all see him today, you'll see. I mean, he physically looks great, but he is one of the best leaders on this team. He's very committed. He's a very selfless young man, and I'm really proud of him. He lost his confidence his sophomore year, you know, and I thought he regained it last year. I thought he kind of found his rhythm again. I thought he found his swag a little bit again, if you will. And he's just got a different vibe to him right now. I like just how he walks, how he talks, how he carries himself, and that's just that maturation process that they all go through. But he's very confident, and he's going to be a heck of a player for us. And hopefully he can have his best year. But from a leadership standpoint, he has done a great job already. I really have already seen that. So, you know, the who's going to be next there, you know, between Nate and Fred, and obviously Malcolm's not out there, but these young guys. But Sheridan has really done a good job of grabbing that group, putting them in the film room, and I think you'll see him coaching out there on the field all through spring as well.
All right, we'll let Coach get to the practice field. Thank you, everybody.
All right, see y'all out there.